Now, the Children and Families Minister, Will Quince, has confirmed yesterday that the Department for Education will consult before the summer on plans to raise the number of 2-year-olds that one member of staff can care for in early years settings in England from 4 to 5.
Now, Britain has some of the highest childcare costs, blamed in part on the high level of government regulation on the sector.
Well, joining us now in the studio is Aria Babu, who's a researcher at the Entrepreneurs Network and a mum, I think, as well.
No,
you're not.
No.
I was told you were, but that's just interesting because I just wonder what mothers and carers will feel about that. Will it work?
Probably will work. Most countries have much more relaxed childcare ratios than we do. I mean, the 5 number comes from Scotland, but Norway has about 8 to 10 children per carer, and Denmark and Finland and Spain all don't have any ratios whatsoever, and people are very comfortable with the care. France, people are very, very happy about the creche system, and they also have much more relaxed ratios than we do.
If the ratio is being relaxed somewhat, what's that going to do to prices? Because obviously childcare is so expensive.
Hopefully we will see them drop. In fact, there's a good paper from Mercatus that basically says, and I think this is quite an intuitive finding, that every time you increase the amount of slack that like childminders and nursery staff have, you decrease the price in exactly that proportion. It's a pretty obvious one-to-one relationship.
So what do the employers, the childcare facilities, think of this?
The responses are pretty mixed. I think there's a degree to which people have a bias that the way they have learned how to do something is the correct way that it happens. So you do end up with a lot of nursery and childminding staff saying that actually they need these ratios. But when you just look at other countries, you can see that it's evidently not true.
You can see it from everyone's point of view, can't you? You can see it from the carers who are employed. They're very often young women. You can see them worried that they're going to be exploited with far too many children to look after, and the workload is just going to come back onto them.
Yeah, and this is true. You actually see a lot of people train in the industry and then leave because they find it so difficult. The most common leaving destination for people who work in childcare is actually supermarket work, because they find that easier and it's paid roughly the same amount, especially with shortages.
Gosh.
And I think a lot of that pain doesn't come from the number of children they have to take care of. It's instead the amount of bureaucracy they have to do when they're taking care of children. We have really, really tightly regulated early year curriculums, which means that they have to note down how a child's motor skills are working, how they're interacting with other kids, whether or not they can drink milk on their own and that kind of thing, which gives them less time to interact with children, which is a big part of the reason why lots of people choose to go into childcare, and more time filling out forms for Ofsted.